I also like to welcome everyone who is participating through our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other social media platforms that we have. I'd like to welcome everyone to this event. May I welcome to our midst the Chairman and Chief Executive of the OSRC Media Group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for putting this together and giving us an opportunity for robust conversation. May I also welcome a member of the executive management of the media group, Mr. Soji Alakuro. I also like to welcome to the program another member of the executive management of the OSRC Media Group, Prince Barrister Steve Alabi. Our guests today are the Honorable Commissioner for Infrastructure, Lands and Housing, Engineer Raimi Aminu, FNSE. Honorable Commissioner, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you in our studios. I'd like to also welcome the Permanent Secretary, Lands and Housing, Architect Oluwasegun Oguro. My privilege as well to welcome the Chief Resident Engineer, Engineer Victor Oyetade, MNSE. Director Civil Operations, Engineer Akin Omotola, FNSE. And Director Planning, Design, Research and Statistics in the Ministry, Engineer Wemimo Akinwumi, FNSE. Distinguished guests, we are grateful and glad to have you in our midst, and certainly we are excited because of the massive infrastructural works that have been done and that are being done by the Akeredolu administration through your ministry. The enormity of the work that the ministry is doing is the reason why there will be a barrage of questions for the Honorable Commissioner today. But before the Commissioner gets to speak about the things being done, which have been done and which are being done and which will be done by the Akeredolu administration, may I take the honor and privilege to respectfully invite to address this roundtable event the Chairman and Chief Executive of our media group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo. Mr. Chairman, sir.
Let me thank the Honorable Commissioner for Land and Housing and Infrastructure, our brother, a highly respected professional, Engineer Raimi Aminu, FNSE.
Thank you, sir.
We thank you so very much for coming. We thank Architect Oguro. If you know the reason why we are very happy that you have come with the Honorable Commissioner today, you will run away. But thankfully, we are grateful that you are here. And I should also, through the Honorable Commissioner, welcome all the members of the entourage, the directors who are here. We thank you. When the Director of Civil Engineering came, and he came down from his vehicle, I thought he was a member of the State Security Service. So when he was introduced as an engineer, I felt that, well, we are safe. And I thank you very much for coming also. I'd like to thank members of our board, Bapa Soji Alakuro, for being here as always, and Barrister Prince Steve Alabi. We thank you very much, as is our usual practice. I'd like to thank all the directors and everybody, all ONDO states, from all walks and cradles of the state, who are listening to us on our radio platforms and on our television platform. You are all welcome to this special program which we have titled Roundtable. As has been said previously, Roundtable has only one purpose, and that purpose is generated out of our concern, because the greatest enemy to good governance is mismanagement of information and misconception of minds. Many times in this business of ours, we have known and we have observed that when people speak, they think this is what they have said, this is what it means. But in many cases, what they thought they have said might mean something else to other people. It is our job, our duty as the state media organ to make sure that when information is passed, the information is passed to the receiver intact, and the reply from the receiver is received by the sender intact. That, in our own view, is the only way information can be shared, peace and security and progress can be guaranteed. Honorable Commissioner, let me thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.
I will start to invite you by making this clarification. Many times in this experience of ours, they say that when dog bites man, it is not news. But when man bites dog, that is news. But you and I know that that belongs in the old order. Today, when dog bites man, we can still say it's not a great news. But when man bites dog, even when a man runs after a dog, that is a big problem for that matter. So we thank you for coming. Today, there are those who believe that when man bites dog, that is not a great news. Those belong in the categories of those who have seen your roads, who have seen many interventions of ONDO state government which you have led. They would say that, oh yes, this is dog biting man. It is not yet a great news. But those who have complaints, those who feel that the intervention of government is not yet enough, or who chose out of either mischief or concern to criticize government, will be interested when dog bites man. When man bites dog. I don't know which is which today that's going to happen here, but I see the gentlemen who are here. I'm not saying they are looking like dogs, but they have the tenacity, the intensity, and the aggression of, I don't know what dog is called in Owo.
Yeah.
But in other places they will say like 404. So they have swift legs, they have swift mind, they want to ask you questions that will give the impression that man is eventually biting dog. But today we will solve this problem of dog versus man. We will raise the bar of this conversation to the benefit of the people of ONDO State. We will make sure that you have the opportunity not only to tell the people of ONDO State what ONDO State government has done through your ministry, but the intentions, the strategies, the constraints, and the success story. I know you will like the success story so much, but these people are not interested in the success story. They want to know why you have not tarred the road to their bedrooms. They want to know why you have not tarred the road to their other woman's bedroom, the other room. But we would leave you to do the best judgment to all those ones. So on behalf of this corporation, sir, we welcome you. We thank you so much for the service you have given ONDO State. It must be placed on record because we have had the honor of recording you, of tracking what you have done over the years. We feel very proud to be associated with your efforts. And we see that many things this government of ONDO State will lay claim to as the core part of our success story. You have been at the core of it. You have done all this without blemish. And it is difficult in this climb to lead such crusade and without blemish. I think I would like to come to your house to take lectures so that we can be like you. So Honorable Commissioner and the team, we thank you so much for coming. And I will now have the pleasure and the privilege because the MC had said it. But don't take him for his words, because he's a very dangerous human being at this profession. But I will invite you, so that people of Ondo State can listen to you. You are going to have, as he had directed, 30 solid minutes to tell your stories, to tell what you want people of Ondo State to know that they have not known before, or what they have known that you want to reinforce. Honorable Commissioner, thank you, and you have the floor.
Thank you very much, the chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. All the members in this gathering, my colleagues, once again, good afternoon, everybody. And to our viewers at home, I greet everyone, good afternoon. I've listened carefully to the chairman and even the MC. And by God's grace, after this discussion, I think kudos will be given to government. Because what I'm seeing here, very strong faces. But I know at the end, you will clap for government and you agree with me that all of us are government and nobody is an island. Kudos, we thank God Almighty for giving us, we thank God Almighty for giving us the power, the courage, and the ability, and for sparing the life of our governor, and for giving us someone like Akeredolu Oluwarotimi Odunayo, SAMCON. At this time, when both federal government, state government, local government were facing serious challenge in terms of funding. If you should recall, we came on board February 2017, and immediately Mr. Governor set the ball rolling. I was opportuned to be among the first 4 appointments. That was then around March, barely a month after his inauguration. Then I was SSA on Lands and Infrastructure. Immediately, Mr. Governor called us to a meeting and directed us that should be a blueprint from our ministry to compare with the blueprint of the government. Then we agree on some times and modalities to work. And we thank God, with the initiative of Mr. Governor, all the successes, the little successes we've recorded, Mr. Governor is the brain behind it. 1, you agree with me that there's no money anywhere. And when we came on board, it was announced then that about over 200 billion debts was left behind that we inherited. But Mr. Governor believed that he was voted to office not to come and complain. Government is continuing, and at the same time, both assets and liability belongs to you. What do? He came up with some ideas, like an adage which says that if a child falls down, he look at the front. But if it were to be an elderly person, he look at the back. That was the reason for this falling. We discovered that in the past, when project is awarded or contract is awarded, mobilization was paid with APG, that's advance payment guarantee from the contractors. Even I can tell you for free, despite the advance payment guarantee, some contractors who cut away with public funds. About 3 billion naira taxpayers' money are in different contractors' purse when we came on board. And Mr. Governor said nothing concerns him with probe. And from history, all the probe panel that had been set up in this state, nothing comes out of it. What I mean by nothing is all the civil servants that are the receiving ends. The politicians, they take lawyers and at the end they set them free. But the politicians will be the culprit at the end. So when Mr. Governor said he's not going to probe anybody, he will rule line and start his own job, we were very happy. Just because we knew this man was ready for business. No probe takes less than 6 months to 1 year. But someone that decided that he's not going to probe, that means he meant business. And that's part of the success we are recording. And he also directed that his administration is not going to pay mobilization. I said that mobilization, some of the public monies are in the covers of the contractors. Why? When you are giving mobilization, initially they call it plant advance. That is, when we first took over from the white people, they were trying to encourage the indigenous contractors by giving plant advance. You buy some machines that wasn't in your fleet, and you can mobilize to site. But we discovered lately that when you are giving plant advance or mobilization fee, just little portion of the mobilization fee will be deployed to the project. And secondly, the amortization. When you raise certificate, that is valuation payment, the money will not be deducted from your first payment. It will be deducted sequentially, gradually. The project will be at 70-80% before government takes back their money. That means directly they are using government money to fund government projects. If anybody decided to cut away with the money, government will just be chasing up and down, which is not good for us. Mr. Governor said, anybody that believes in him, come and work for me. When you are giving your paper, your documents, sign agreement with government, as the job progresses, it will be paying you, which is just like the symbol of MTN, pay as you go. Until you work for, that's what we get. And government stands to get 2 things by this. Number 1, government money will be hinted at. Any money paid out is what the contractors has worked for. That's number 1. Number 2, quality is guaranteed. Because when you are not mobilized and ministry officials, they are supervising thoroughly, if there's anyone that will not agree with the quality, maybe necessary test to try to short circuit the government, by the time we get there, it's either we demolish or we refuse to value it for payment. With that, all the contractors, they were on their toes. They agree with all our terms. All necessary tests that required of any project were carried out. The symbol is what we are seeing in the town. And immediately we started with about 6 contractors. Only 6 contractors came up on board then. But as we speak now, we have more than 25 contractors on the queue, begging, appealing to government that we are ready to work for government with our own funds. But unfortunately, we have more than enough that we are battling with. That's just the background. And when we came, part of the unique selling point of this administration is the fact that most of the projects that government embarked upon in the first 3 or 4 years were not influenced by anybody at all. We brought out the records from the Ministry of Infrastructure, because I happen to be in that ministry for over 22 years now. I started my privilege there. So with that, I think I know little about what was going on there. All the ministry, all those people that have been yearning for good infrastructure, we brought out their records. We submitted to governor's office. Mr. Governor appraised every damn thing by himself and called us back for interrogation. Those that were defended perfectly, he gave the nod that should go and start those projects. That's why you saw us at the reception starting our project with someone like Okeogba. There's no any commissioner living there, no anybody in the government. Past commissioner might be living there, but not present serving commissioner or special advisors. Go to Gaga, I'm talking about Akure, and then we choose about 6 local governments across the 3 senatorial districts. It was there we went to Ifon, where we chose Ogbomo Street, Igbaraya Road, Outlet Road, Ajegunle Road. These are the 4 projects that we embark upon at Ifon. In Akure here, that was when we went to Oshile Hospital Road, Oshile Ideal Guest House Road, and the other one Ashile to Alafia Tayo. Then before we came on board, that place was where these herdsmen feed their cows. They feed their herds there. If you go there today, you will know that government has intervened there. About so many roads like that, that benefited, both in central, in the north, and the southern central district. So that's how we started. If you permit me to mention some names of those roads that we constructed. In Akure here, that was when we started with that Oshile. That was when we started with Alagbaka SIB, Alagbaka Court of Appeal, and Alagbaka to interior, which burst out at which has common boundary with Obaile axis. Those roads totaling about 6 kilometers. The Gaga I mentioned the other time is 5.7 kilometers, being handled by Dortmund Construction. No, not Gaga Okeoba. Dortmund Construction. Gaga by Slavabogu. Gaga is also 5.6 kilometers. Gaga to Abiodun and the entire Gaga street, entire Gaga road, about 5.7 kilometers. Apart from the Gaga, it was then that we started the CBN road. CBN, you know that the road from governor's office was dualized, and when it gets to electricity board, it was a single carriage lane. We recorded a lot of carnages, a lot of accidents around that area. Mr. Governor directed that road should be dualized to CBN. That was when we started those roads. Igbakaobuji, it was a death trap, coupled with the bad road at Akure-Ado Road. That was the only alternative route. 8.1 kilometers, we gave it out, it was awarded, and it was constructed. I knew the first interview I went for at Adaba, that was why I was taking up then, that what happens to Igbakaobuji, and I promised them that it will be constructed. Those are the road that we started with in Akure here. And if you go to Ifon, I've mentioned the 4 at Ifon, go to Osrc local government. In Osrc local government, we have the Ute Township roads. The Ute Township roads is 9.75 kilometers. I think by next week, the contractor will deliver the project 100%. It's at around 90-95% completion. Now go to Idoani. We are working at Idoani. Go to Owani. We are working at Owani. The contractor just primed yesterday, last week at Owani. Come to Emure Poro. We are working there. The project is being handled by Mrs. Serato. Is the contractor working there. And we have another contractor, Durban, working there, working at Idashianwo, also at Isuada, Ekoro Link Road. Go to Akoko. We have Ikare Township roads. Before we came on board, the last administration awarded the Okeala Bojito, that notorious hill, that everybody believes that there was a spirit. Because anytime there was an accident, you would discover that millions, thousands will go with it. The last administration awarded it, but no cash backing. When we came on board, we discovered 2 things. Number 1, we need to pay this contractor. Number 2, we need to reappraise the design. Because they believed that the earth, that is the overburden on the rock, was more than the rock itself, the outcrops. But when we carried out necessary test, and when the contractor started the work, we discovered that the reverse is the case. The rock outcrop far more than the overburden, which is the earth. We had no options to review and encourage the contractor. And we changed it to dualization because we knew by God's grace,